Electricast.
This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
The land down under has never been easier to reach. United Airlines has more flights between the U.S. and Australia than any other U.S. airline, so you can fly nonstop to destinations like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Explore dazzling cities, savor the very best of Aussie cuisine, and get up close and personal with the wildlife. Who doesn't want to hold a koala? Go to united.com/Australia to book your adventure.
Welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design, where we celebrate women who are shaping their lives one extraordinary day at a time. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, self-care coach for women who are ready to make self-care a priority to support them in life and business. Every week, I'll be speaking with inspiring women from various walks of life who will share their personal journeys and will discover how they have fearlessly carved their own paths as business owners, passionately pursuing their dreams and creating a meaningful impact on their communities. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, and today we're talking with Sarah Haas. Sarah is a women's weight release and body love coach, integrative nutrition health coach, certified personal trainer, yoga instructor, podcast host, and speaker. She draws on her education and personal experiences as a 50-something single mom and breast cancer survivor to guide and support midlife women to become healthy and vibrant and feel great in their bodies. I'm excited to get started. So welcome, Sarah. It's great having you on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm so happy that you're here. But before we get started, it's tradition for me to start my podcast episodes by having my guests tell us a little bit more about themselves. So if you could tell us just a little bit more about Sarah, the woman, and then we'll move into what you do.
Absolutely. So I am a woman in midlife. I'm 50 something, which is the same case for a lot of the women that I work with. You know, we're dealing with changing body, changing hormones, life transitions. And I'm very much in that place right now. I have two kids, one in high school who's about to graduate and another who's in her second year of college. So I have that very close to empty nest thing happening. And I'm also a single mom. I got divorced in my 40s. My kids were about 9 and 11. So I have dealt with single motherhood for a while, and I'm an entrepreneur. So like many other women and moms out there, I know what it's like to be busy and crazy and juggling a lot of things. And one of the challenges, I guess you could say, that I have dealt with as a mom is that my son is a type 1 diabetic. So he was diagnosed when he was about 6, and he's now 18 and thriving and super healthy. But, you know, that was a really scary thing. Type 1 diabetes, they don't know what causes it, and there's no cure. So it's different than type 2 in that it's something you'll deal with for the rest of your life. So the mom in me took that really hard, but it was really the catalyst for me going into the nutrition and wellness realm. I had a different career previously, and I had to sort of figure out what this was going to look like now for my family. I had to make sure he was going to be as healthy as possible. And as a 6-year-old, you're not going to tell them they're doing something while the rest of you are not. So I really threw myself into learning all about nutrition. I ended up going back to school to study integrative nutrition. And I was a single, busy working mom. So it had to be in a way that would work for families, for busy moms, for kids, kid friendly. And once I worked that out and saw how amazing it was and saw how healthy and strong. I mean, my son is in the band, he runs track, he runs cross country, he's super active. And once I saw how amazing it was, not just for him, but for all of us, that's what made me want to make it my career. And then a couple of years ago, I had another, you know how life throws you these curveballs, and this certainly was one. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019. So, right before COVID hit, I was faced with doing chemotherapy, radiation. I had a bilateral mastectomy and 2 reconstruction surgeries. So, in total, it took about 2 years to go through all of those treatments. And the process profoundly changed me. It causes you to really go deep and really think about your life and what's important. And the amazing thing is, you get all these lessons if you just sit still and listen. And that's what I did. I didn't really have much of a choice but to sit still. And I was just filled with all these messages for what this disease was telling me. And that has just fueled me 110% now. I've been cancer free for 4 years and I feel amazing. I'm thriving. I'm back to myself. I'm energetic. I'm exercising. I'm strong. I just got back from a week-long hiking trip where we hiked about 10 miles straight up mountains out west every single day. And I want every woman to feel as good as I do. And knowing that I went into it healthy is such a testament to me for how important that is, because you never know. I hope no one listening ever has to deal with breast cancer, but life will throw you something. You can bet on that. And the healthier you are and the stronger you are, and the more you can support yourself, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, the more you'll be able to thrive through it and come out on the other side just kicking and screaming like me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that part of your story. Because I'm sure even just as a single mom and then also having to deal with your own health issues and your son's probably was really scary for you, but you came out on top. And I think that's incredible. And I want to talk about that to move into what you do today. So can you share how you have a holistic approach to weight release and body love benefits for the women that you work with? So specifically, can you share how your approach compares to traditional methods?
Yeah, absolutely. So when women first come to me, usually the first thing they say is, I want to lose weight. So they feel like, okay, the weight is the issue. This is what I need. But then when we really start talking about it, what they actually want is to feel good in their bodies, to feel good when they walk out of the house every day, to feel confident. And also, I work mostly with women who are in that midlife period. The hormones are changing, your body's changing, and it can be a challenge. And I help women not just navigate through that, but learn how to be strong and healthy into this next phase and for decades to come, because we all want to age well and we want to be able to do whatever we want. Some of us are looking toward retirement or empty nesting or maybe changing careers, and we need energy for that. We need vibrancy. We want to go out there. I mean, my motto is, if not now, when? Because
Yeah.
after I came through my cancer journey, I started thinking about, all right, girl, you're in your 50s. If not now, when? Like, what are these things you've been saying you're going to do your whole life? And how can you make those happen? And so for one of those, it's travel. So I have gone, since all of my treatments have been finished, I went to Greece. I went to Spain. I'm going to Ireland this fall. just got back from a trip out west where I went to a bunch of national parks. So I've been doing those things that I've been saying I'm going to do for a long time. And I work with so many women who keep putting it off. They don't have the energy. They're too busy. They're too overburdened with all of their responsibilities. The weight is literally slowing them down, weighing them down, causing them to be lethargic, fatigued, and they're just sort of in survival mode. Like, what can I do to get this, and this done every day? And when I talk to women about, okay, what is it that you really want? They say, I want to feel comfortable in my body. I want to be living a healthy lifestyle that doesn't feel like I'm dieting. And I want to be able to move around freely and be able to do whatever I want. And so for me, that does have a foundation in nutrition and learning body movement and getting activity into your life. But it has to go deeper than that. It has to be more holistic, because we can follow a plan. Someone can give you a book, or you can go online and, sign up for some kind of wellness thing or get an app or whatever. And it'll tell you to do this, this, and this. And it works for a while, and then it doesn't work. And I know so many people listening have done this, and it's that on again, off again. You're either on a quote diet or you're not. And when you bring all these pieces together, like learning self-care, learning how to make yourself and your health a priority, and learning how to give yourself grace and compassion, and stop trying to make it look perfect all the time with that black and white. It has to be perfect or I have failed. When you start letting all that go, then you can lean into nourishing yourself and feeling good and creating a flexible, doable, practical lifestyle that you can live. And I know I don't want to ever have to say I can never have a glass of wine or a piece of chocolate cake. And I don't think that's realistic for anyone. And so it has to be a flexible plan, but it also has to address these underlying deeper issues that keep those unhealthy patterns coming up.
Yeah, I so agree with you too. And that's one of the reasons why I always lean in and say that self-care is not a one size fits all model. And I think even knowing your own body, like you could have, some people, they seem to have no problems losing weight. Some people have a hard time losing weight. Some people have no problem gaining weight. Some people have a hard time gaining weight. I think it's just learning to know our bodies. And now that wellness has become such a mainstream thing, like more and more people are starting to learn about it and it's out there. You're right. A lot of the time women have so many responsibilities. It can be really hard, especially a lot of the women that I've spoken to who are moms. It's usually like the kids come first. Everything, family is first. Their spouse is first. Everything, their responsibilities are first. And they might be on that list, but if time runs out at the end of the day, it falls off. And again, they then repeat that same cycle day in and day out. So I love the fact that you talk about that it does go much deeper than just saying, oh, be on this diet and it works for a while and then it stops working, rather than how you can reframe it as a lifestyle choice so that you don't have to give up things like you were saying. If you want to have a glass of wine, if you want to have a piece of cake, it is really in moderation, but moderation doesn't have to be something where you feel like you are being restricted. It just means that you're making sure that you're still taking care of your body, putting those healthy choices. And I want to talk about one of the things that you said, you are a breast cancer survivor. And I want to really congratulate you on that. I think it's really good. You have such a great mindset around it. You've got this great energy around you. I want to ask you, as a single mom and also having to overcome breast cancer. I mean, I've never had that in my family. I don't know what that is to go through for a loved one, nor myself. So I want to ask, like, just in these two areas, like you are a single mom, you have kids, like you said, your youngest, you had to overcome certain challenges for him to help him to be able to lead this vibrant lifestyle that he is now, which is amazing. And then, of course, yourself and the things that you've gone through. And now you're out there just living life. Like, I love the fact that you're collecting those experiences. How are these two things, how have they influenced your coaching style and your support for other women, especially, moms who are, even if they're in a relationship, uh, maybe they have some kind of underlying health concerns. How has this influenced how you support and show up for these women?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And whether you're single, whether you are married or have a partner, whether you have kids or don't have kids, most women are super busy and stressed and overwhelmed. And I know how that feels. And when I found myself with this illness and faced with all of these treatments, I realized I can't keep going at this speed. All of a sudden, it came to a screeching halt. And immediately, literally the day I got that diagnosis, the message I heard screaming in my head was, you have to slow down. This is telling you to slow down. And the message has been coming through for a long time. I knew I needed to. I kept telling myself I would, just after this next project, after I achieve this in my career, or after my kids get older, whatever it was. And I kept putting it off. And if you do not take care of your wellness, your body will force you to at some point. And it will not be convenient. So you won't get to pick the time. And that was just one of the things that came through so strongly to me was you've got to start taking care of yourself. You've got to stop putting everyone ahead of yourself and learn to make yourself a priority. Because like you said, so many women, we have this long to-do list, right? Every day. And we're at the bottom. And that's why our health suffers. That's why we're basically throwing our own health under the bus because we're taking care of our home. We're taking care of our jobs, our significant others, our kids, our family members. Maybe you have aging parents, volunteer things, whatever it is, that you're doing. And if you have a long list and then eating healthy and exercising is supposed to get added to that already impossible list, it's always going to get pushed down. Whatever's at the bottom of the list is not going to get done. Really, realistically, the bottom 1/3, when I look at my list, the bottom 1/3 is probably not going to get done. And then it gets pushed to the next day, which gets pushed to the next week, which gets pushed to the next month, year, and so on. And when I had this time to really marinate on this and let it sink in to my heart, it came through loud and clear that you have to share this message. And this needs to be a huge part of your work with women, because it is not just about physically getting healthier. And if you aren't putting yourself first, why? And that is what you have to peel back the layers on, because there's so many reasons. Part of it is just societal expectations of women. We are the caregivers, the nurturers. And now we're doing these careers and doing all these other things, yet we're still expected to do everything, once we get home. And it's impossible. And we feel guilty saying no, or we feel like we've failed if we don't achieve it all. And we feel like putting ourselves up higher on the list means we're taking away from someone else. And that goes really deep. That goes back to how you were raised. That goes back to the messages you've gotten as you grew up and from society and from people in your lives. And it really goes to your self-worth. And what I want women to know is you are just as important as everyone else in your life. And you deserve downtime. You deserve fun time. You deserve time to take care of your body. And every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to another. So if you say yes to every single person and every single thing that comes across your path, then you will continue to say no to yourself and your health will continue to suffer.
Yeah. And I think too, part of it is that we've heard this having it all, like you can have it all. And yes, you can have the lifestyle that you choose, but does it come at the expense of you, like of taking care of yourself? And I think when, like you were saying, you have all of these other responsibilities and you work, if you have a business or you have a corporate job, you have children that you have their lifestyles that you're also helping to maintain. And then if you have a partner or you're married or whatever that looks like at home, you have all of those responsibilities. And you're thinking like, to have it all, does that mean that I don't get to actually enjoy having it all? So I really like that. And that's what I wanted to segue into this question for you, because you talk about the whole idea of body love. So how do you tailor the combination of self-care and self-compassion strategies in your coaching to address the needs of your clients, like the individual needs of your clients, particularly to help promote body love?
Yeah. The message that I really want women to hear is no matter where you are physically, your body deserves love and it deserves care. And showing your body care means nourishing yourself with foods that support your health. It means moving your body in a way that gets your blood flowing, that brings you joy. And you don't have to wait until you are a certain size to start loving your body. And you can love your body and still want to change it. And that was part of what came through for me with going through cancer was I've always been very hard on myself, very perfectionistic, and had a really high bar for my life and for my physical appearance. So I've always had this negative body image and I've always never been good enough and always pushing myself. And getting sick changed my body, right? I could not exercise anymore, barely, maybe little walks. I couldn't eat the way I wanted to necessarily because I had the chemotherapy. And so I had to just work around whatever, would not make me feel bad or that my body would, the tastes were all different. So anyway, my eating was all out of whack. And not only that, I had 3 surgeries. And so I have major scars. But I realized the power of my body. I realized how hard and amazing and incredible, how hard my body works and how amazing and incredible it is because it was able to sustain and thrive and rebound after this process. So looking back objectively, now I quote look worse than I did before all of this because I've gone through menopause now and I've got all these scars and nothing looks the same as it used to. Plus, I'm aging like everybody else. You get the stretch marks and, whatever, wrinkles. But I am in love with my body now because of how amazing it is. And if we start focusing on that instead of, I should look this way, or what, my stomach's too fat, or I hate the cellulite, or, all of those things. If you put the focus on my feet, my legs take me everywhere I want to go every day. My arms allow me to do my work and cook and hug people. And my body has birthed 2 children. My body has fought off cancer. So if you start looking at it from that point of view, instead of I should look a certain way, then your mindset changes and you start wanting to care for your body. And then releasing weight is a happy side effect. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to look better. We've almost gotten to a point where we feel ashamed to say that I want to lose weight because we feel like we should just say, I really just want to be healthy. And it's okay to want to look your best. It's okay to want to feel confident, but not setting that bar to if I'm not, quote, perfect, which no one is, then I don't love myself and I don't love my body because perfect doesn't exist and you'll never get there.
Yeah. And it's so true. I think the moment that I was able to look at the woman in the reflection and just say, I love everything about you and not have any of the buts afterwards saying, but I wish that this was better, or, but you could lose a few pounds. When I was able to just say that I love you for everything that you've gone through, that you've gotten me to this moment in my life, I think that's when I was able to be able to just let go of some of those things that I used to have as crutches, and looking at weight and looking at food a certain way and always worrying about the scale. I don't do that anymore. I think that's really important. So could you share a story where one of your clients achieved some of the radiance they could get back, their confidence that they could back, their joy that they could start living through again? Could you share a story?
Oh, yeah. My goodness. I could share 100 stories, but I'll share a recent one in particular. I have a client who is in education. She's kind of in administration and very, very hardworking woman. And she's in her 60s. And she recently adopted her grandson, who is 10. So not only is she a grandmother, she is a full-time caregiver of a child. And she was struggling with what so many of us do with, I have so much to do and I'm so busy. And her inner critic was loud and clear every day, all day. The words that she said to herself were more horrible than any words you would ever say to someone that you love. And her eating was all over the place. She was either super, super strict and tracking all her food and tracking all her calories and exercise and calories burned and all of that, or she was grabbing whatever and just like, I don't care what I eat. I can't deal with that right now. Drinking too much, skipping meals, not even stopping for food at lunchtime. She would just work through the day and then come home starving and just grab whatever. And she was in such a dark place mentally because she was being so hard on herself. And we just started working together. And a lot of it was just the words she was saying to herself and the way she was treating herself. It was either all or nothing. It was either perfect or forget it. I'm just not going to do anything. And so I told her, since you get into this cycle of super like hyper tracking everything you eat and all your calories, I don't want to talk about that at all because I don't want to trigger that. I don't want to set you on that path. So I said, we're just going to talk about what goodness does your body need to have in it every day? What nutrition do you need? What exercise do you need? What's going to make you feel good and make you glow? And we just started focusing on that. And we started focusing on the mindset and the way she was talking to herself and berating herself. And she actually lost, I want to say 35 pounds, but we didn't keep track of that or plan that. She just changed how she was thinking and how she was living. And the rest just happened naturally. And I asked her to write me a testimonial for my website. And I can't remember the number of pounds, but she said, I lost X number of pounds, X number of dress sizes, and a whole lot of negativity.
I love that.
And I thought that was amazing because that's what I want. I want you to lose the not enoughness and step into how amazing and incredible you really are.
I love that you bring awareness to the inner work. Again, we can go on all the diets that we want. We can do all of the things that are supposed to give us the results that we want. But unless we work on ourselves, those things are, like you were saying, even those apps, sometimes they will work for a while, or those diets, they'll work for a little bit until they stop working. It's that inner work that it's where it starts. That's where it begins. And when you can start to heal from within, that's when, again, like you were saying, it wasn't planned, but because she was healing, all of those other things that she wanted to happen for her benefit started happening. So I love that. So let's talk future. Looking ahead, how do you see your practice evolving to further support midlife women in their journey toward health and self-acceptance?
Well, I want to continue to elevate my message. I want to reach as many women as possible because I think that women in our society are still diminished. We're still second-class citizens. We've made huge strides, but we're not there yet. And I think one of the things that is bringing us down is the way that we feel about ourselves, our self-worth. We don't ask for the job we deserve. We don't ask for the raise we deserve. We don't say no to all these things that we shouldn't be doing and that take away from us being able to take care of our health. And we are constantly putting ourselves down and berating ourselves for our physical appearance. And I think that if we feel good about ourselves and have that absolute confidence, we could rule the world. I mean, really, we're out there kicking butt already, even with all of this. But with the messages out there that we're always getting about how our physical appearance should look, and when we don't reach that, we are afraid to put ourselves out there. And that needs to end. And I want to shout it to the world until that message gets through to as many people as possible.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm on board with you 100% with that. Sarah, it has really been such a pleasure having you on today and learning about your expertise in women's weight release and body love coaching. Your holistic approach offers a fresh perspective it's incredibly valuable for especially women who are in the latter part of their life. You know, things are changing, the body is changing. And so when those women like ourselves are looking and seeking the health and the vibrancy that maybe we once had before, and we're trying to find it, but it's just finding it in a different way. So I'm really happy that you were on today and sharing about what you're doing. And I'll make sure to include all of your information in our show notes so that anyone interested can easily connect with you and explore how your coaching could benefit their lives. So thank you again so much for dedicating your time to be with me today and sharing your knowledge with our audience. Again, your work is a beacon of support and empowerment for many.
Thank you so much, Leslie. It was an absolute pleasure.
And to our listeners, remember, your journey to health and self-acceptance is a profound journey worth embarking on. Let the stories and strategies shared today inspire you to embrace your path to well-being and body love. Thank you for listening and being a part of our community. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep designing your extraordinary life one day at a time. Thank you for joining me on Her Extraordinary Life by Design. I hope you've been inspired and empowered by the incredible stories shared on this show. If you enjoyed this episode and the conversations we've had, I would greatly appreciate if you could take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback and support mean the world to me, and it will help others discover the podcast and join our empowering community. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Together, we can continue to learn from these amazing women, uncover their extraordinary journeys, and be motivated to create our own lives by design. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, stay empowered and keep shaping your extraordinary life one day at a time.
Hi, everyone. I'm Geraldine Glass, a leader in the field of music as medicine, and I'm excited to share with you my newest release of healing sound, Pentatonic Visions, with Chris Scholler and Electricast Records. Immerse yourself in ethereal realms where the harmonies of nature, tribal rhythms, and soundscapes blend with the crystal singing bowls. It's out now, streaming on all platforms.
Have you ever wondered what actually happens in Congress every day? Stay informed on Capitol Hill's daily happenings with a concise, factual summary of the Senate and House of Representatives' activities from the previous session, free from bias, on the Congressional Record Daily Digest podcast. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and discover the process from the heart of U.S. politics. The Congressional Record Daily Digest, an Electricast production.
Electricast. Electricast.